Everyone would stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call begin.
John Edelbach.
Ramona Umbarger.
Here.
Item of business minutes from the last meeting, August 22nd. Does everyone read this?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
We have a motion,
I'll second.
we have a second. All those in favor, vote please.
John Edelbach, aye.
Ramona Umbarger is present. Okay.
It won't pass with only two, so if you don't want to vote, they'll get bumped to next meeting. So I would recommend that if you've read them and they look in order, then you vote.
Okay, I vote yes.
Here.
So then we have new business. First of all, is it old business? Chelsea, I didn't assume that.
No old business tonight. So we'll move on to our new business item. New business tonight is docket U-387-2022, Freedom Enterprise Boat and RV Storage Special Exception. The petitioner is requesting special exception to permit an outdoor recreational vehicle storage use. Subject property is located at 4711 North State Road 135. Property zone C3. Petitioner is Freedom Enterprise LLC. The owner is Action Real Estate LLC. This property is along 135, around South Grove Landing, just south of there, around Wetland Road and along 135, as I mentioned. Petitioner's current conceptual site plan is on your screen and in your packets for your reference. Like I mentioned, and as they will explain in their presentation, they're proposing to open a boat and recreational vehicle sales business. And part of that use, the boat sales part is permitted by right in C3, but the use specifically retail sales, service, and repair outdoor, the other component requires this special exception tonight, so that is what the board is considering. Since this is within the Arterial Corridor Overlay District, this development would be subject to all of the requirements within the ACO, as well as any other requirements within the Unified Development Code that would went into effect in August. If the use would be approved tonight, the next step for the petitioner would be to go through the site development plan process, which is reviewed internally with the technical review committee against all of the standards in the Unified Development Code, which includes parking, access management, landscaping, all of those particular site design details. As a reminder, like the BZA with special exceptions can require property owners to make written commitments and can attach conditions of approval to special exceptions. The 6 decision criteria are on your screen and in your packets for your reference. With that in mind, staff is recommending that the board approve the special exception with the following conditions. The first, that an access management plan, including a frontage road, is submitted for review with the site development plan. The second, landscape plan is submitted with the site development plan, which contains buffering and screening around the property and the outdoor parking areas. The third is add the following landscaping buffering around the subject property. An opaque fence at least 6 feet tall and plantings at a rate of 1 shade tree per 35 linear feet of shared border. Fence must be placed at least 3 feet inside the property line of the proposed development, and plantings at a rate of 3 medium shrubs per 25 linear feet of shared border must be provided between the fence and the property line. Petitioner is here tonight to give a presentation, answer any questions. This is a public hearing.
Before we start, we will swear in. Anyone that is going to speak tonight, if you would stand please and raise your right hand. Do you swear?
For any of the items, not just this
For any
one.
of the items. If anyone is going to speak tonight, please stand.
If
raise
there's
your-
even a small chance that you might want to, go ahead and stand.
Do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, for this public, we need to open the
Public hearing.
open the public hearing. The first speaker will be the petitioner. The petitioner will get up and explain what the project is. Then, once the petitioner has been up there and explained the project, then the public will have an opportunity to get up there and express whatever views, concerns, or whatever you may have. When you come to the podium, please state your name and your address. Okay, petitioner.
Jim Davis, 6649 North, 75 West, Whiteland, Indiana, 46184.
Nick Davis, same address.
Tell us what you're proposing.
Freedom Enterprise LLC, boat and RV storage special exception. I'm Jim Davis. I'm here with my son Nick Davis, owner of Freedom Enterprise LLC.
If you hit right, there you go.
The proposed use of the boat and RV storage lot will be consistent with the intent and purposes of this zoning ordinance. A storage lot on this land is creating a service that is in high demand that allows residents to have boats and RVs stored away from the residential neighborhoods to keep Barkersville's small town charm alive. Currently in Barkersville, there are 3 different examples of storage. I'm here to offer a solution and be in compliance to Barkersville's ordinances. The proposed use will comply with all applicable requirements of this ordinance. Freedom Enterprise LLC will install a 6-foot-high opaque fence 3 feet inside the property line of the proposed development. We intend to keep the existing tree line that is in place on the north and south sides of the property. On the east side of the property, we will plant 1 shade tree per 35 linear feet and plant 3 medium shrubs per 25 linear feet between the fence and the property line. The storage will be invisible from State Road 135, and that's approximately 800 feet back off of the main road. The proposed use will be compatible with the character of the general vicinity. Currently, there is 1 car sales lot, 1 car repair lot on both sides of the entrance to the property. Freedom Enterprise LLC will remove the parked cars on the entry and create a landscape buffer on the north and south side of the entrance, as well as asphalting back to the 2 existing structures. Our vision is to create a place for the Barkersville community to do reputable business in a professional environment. With storing boats and recreational vehicles behind the storefronts with no visibility from the road, the proposed use will be compatible with the character of the general vicinity. The property actually consists of 3 parcels. 1 is currently being used as a rental. The second is being used as a car lot. Our intent with property number 1 is a business office, such as a law firm, property number 2 to become Freedom Enterprises' main office. Originally, we thought Virginia Lane was a dedicated road coming from the north side of the property, headed south. Virginia Lane would not be a good fit for Freedom Enterprise. We do not see any more traffic than it is handling now. I have owned a storage facility in Greenwood since 2002. We have learned that asphalt, well, I kind of got off track here, but asphalt breaks down, so we would like to gravel the main parking lot for the boats and RVs because of the twisting and turning of the campers and the trucks, because most of them have to almost jackknife to get in. The area and proposed use will be adequately served by essential public facilities and services. Based on our history of boat and RV storage, around 5% of the units leave each week. Most are used in the 3 major camping and boating weekends of the year. The rest of the weekends, the units remain mostly unused. From November to March, there is minimal movement with units. Therefore, there will not be an issue with the traffic flow. Freedom Enterprise is proposing to place a gravel lot for the storage area. Gravel is a natural product and will aid in the natural flow, drainage, and absorption of water. And this, yeah, I actually stated this in the last one, but we've been in business since 2002 in Greenwood, and the asphalt with a storage facility, the roads have to be so tight that you have to almost jackknife the campers every time you go to get in. So it creates a pothole, and then it turns to gravel, and it becomes a gravel lot.
There's also no way to do upkeep with a full storage facility unless you clear everyone out. There's no nighttime empty parking lots.
Am I allowed to ask a question now, or should I wait?
Yeah.
That would also require a separate variance, would it not?
Correct.
Yes.
That would be dealt with steps down the road, correct?
Correct.
Making sure I do our rules correctly, catching on.
You're pro.
A year and a half.
We've also learned over the years that heavy equipment and semi-trailers is not a good fit for Freedom Enterprise. We do recreational vehicles and campers for the community.
Nothing that's used on a daily basis. So
No one's gonna be storing a big rig there or anything.
Right, yeah, no construction trailers, no landscapers, nothing that's in and out of there on a constant basis. It's too much wear and tear on the roads and fencing and gates and all that.
Did I hear you say that you don't intend to use Virginia? Or you do?
We have no intentions of using Virginia. Originally, we thought that would be a good fit, but our understanding is it's $100,000 a year, and that we just can't, we can't. It would be.
So the businesses that are currently facing 135 today, the car lot, I think it's one of my own kids own, that those will cease to exist, or,
Well, our intent would be to buy them out.
but that's not part of this, and
That's not part of
phase
this.
2, phase 3, whatever.
But in the entrance that we have right now, the car sales lot, their red
Right.
Randy is parking in that
Yep.
right away. And the Grady's Body Shop, I believe, is also parking on the north side. So we're cutting all that out, and it's a clean entryway in and out.
So the parcels are the entryway into it. And is it the Red Indy, is that part of it? Or is it the entryway in the property? I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
It's right up.
There's two,
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. I'm just trying to make sure I understand exactly what is included and what isn't.
This is gonna be.
Where's the rental that is part of?
It's the house.
The one that's straight in on the driveway?
straight in and to the
Right
right,
in to the left.
Yeah, okay,
and then the straight in is, that's the red Indy,
okay,
the bigger building.
yes, okay.
So what about the retail sales, service and repair?
We do consignment. So if you wanted to drop off your unit and store it with us, we would also sell the unit for you.
And that would be stored in the same location?
That would be stored in the same location. We're not asking for any storage out front of the building that you see on that property. There's a building and then a house that sits on the north. Everything will be contained in the back of that property,
The current Rev Indy.
the current Rev Indy as well.
Well, that's the building you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Other than the people that, the law firm, we have a law firm wanting to rent the building, other than them coming in and parking, but that will all be asphalt.
And that really is not, that's not very much traffic either, from what we understand.
So will there be service and repair?
There will be service on the car.
So where will you do that?
Well, we want to do something with that building when it becomes our office, and that'll also be in that.
We don't intend on keeping, Rev Indy long-term in that building.
Okay, so the discussions to buy both of those buildings out have already started, but it's contingent on this approval. Is
Well,
that
all the
what I understand?
parcels, yeah, all the parcels come as a package in the sale.
Okay. Okay, so you're, okay,
We're just trying to explain the whole
I'm with you.
story,
So
of what it
the,
will look like.
the Rev Indy building will be your service
That'll
office.
our service office.
And the house will be the house will be the office and the Rev Indy will be the service? Or how?
The Rev Indy will be our office.
Okay.
We will structurally do something with that building. I mean, it's leaking water and it's not in real good shape. Possibly even just tear it down and start over.
The other building that's on that property, where it's a residence right now that's being rented out, with that, we want to take that and make it into a commercial leased building to some type of professional service.
I.e., your lawyer.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
So
I was just asking to make sure I understood where the service is going to be occurring. in the property.
Because it's a pretty good sized building. It just needs a lot of work done to it, but
And so the buyout of those businesses is a done deal, assuming you get the approvals and everything that you need to do.
all three parcels.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we weren't approving something and then you're calling them up tomorrow and saying, hey, we want to buy, those conversations have already taken place.
Yes, there is a purchase.
I misunderstood that, Mike. Got it.
Any other questions of the commissioner?
Not at the moment. I reserve the right to change that.
All right, not, if there is anyone in the audience that would like, you can sit down now. If there's anyone here in the audience that would like to speak to this, please come to the podium, state your name and address. And, well, come on, several of them.
Hi, I'm Jamie Carter, one of the landowners with South Grove Landing. I live at 6704 West Stones Crossing Road in Greenville. And I'm representing, with this conversation, Matt Harrell, who's another landowner there. His property runs adjacent to the north property line. And he's asked me to ask that they, in addition to the 6-foot tall fence, that they consider some sort of a mounding or something that make it taller. Because he's planning on putting, well, he may put apartments in there at some point. So they wouldn't be able to see over the top of it.
So he's suggesting mounding plus the fence.
Something a little bit taller than a 6-foot fence.
Okay,
So the fence on top of the mound.
Just something in addition to it, or a taller fence.
and what was the property owner's name that you're here?
Matt Harrell,
Anything else?
that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak to this project? Okay. We'll close the public hearing. Petitioner has an opportunity now to respond to what he was suggesting. A taller fence.
Well, I mean, I'm not against, say a 10-foot fence, but when you get into building mounds and you're pushing up dirt, we're gonna lose space. So we're talking 40 feet around the perimeter and, 40 and 40 and 40. That's a lot. That's a lot of space to where we can, that's revenue coming out of our business.
If I heard him correctly, it doesn't sound like he's opposed, it doesn't necessarily need to come in the form of a mound if is a 10-foot fence
Yeah,
equal to a mound and a stick. I
He
mean,
didn't specifically say, he just wanted to safeguard from
some more
being
additional
able to see
coverage.
down into the facility. I don't know without saying, I'd let him speak on that behalf, but he wanted more than something just 6 foot tall.
Does the ordinance have
So
a
8
maximum fence height? As much as-
I'm trying to.
Well, can I add to that, on your north and south sides of the property, we have a tree line that's already there. It's pretty, and I know that it could go bad in the future and there could be holes in it as well, but right now you can't even see the property at all.
Is that tree line on your property? Because sometimes the tree lines are not necessarily on your property.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
I think his objection would be the maintenance of it, like you noted, and also, in the wintertime, the leaves fall, and it becomes a little more.
Thinner when it's the most crowded in terms of vehicles and things parked there, so I did. So,
Matt Harrell's property is the adjacent property on the north. Yeah, that's-
But we would screen the fence where you couldn't see through it.
So when you say screen, are you putting in a chain link with slats in it, or is it a wooden fence?
Well, we would like to put up a chain link fence, but we'll do a slat fence. But they make two different kinds. They make a screen that'll go on the chain link, and then they make the slats that go in it as well.
Looks like, commercial use, 10-foot height max. And the staff recommendation is for a 100% opaque fence, so something you would not be able to see through.
Chain link is not permitted in the arterial corridor district.
Right, but you could put something.
But even chain link with the slats wouldn't be a permitted
Okay,
fencing in the overlay district.
okay, so you're gonna have to do something. Okay.
So that really limits it to either wood fence or PVC panel fence or something like that, right?
And you guys would have final decision when you come on the plan.
Yeah, this would be required to file for a development plan, yes.
that was my question, was tonight the appropriate time to get that requirement?
I think
Probably is, but I want to make sure we're
so.
not
But they would-
overstepping either.
Staff's opinion, yes. This is
Right.
This is the appropriate-
Here.
appropriate
Yeah,
venue.
we'll-
And make sure,
This is the time.
And then they would need to come back for a second variance request.
for the gravel yard.
Regarding the gravel storage area, yes.
The gravel will be separate pickups.
I think we saw that with the nursery,
That's
the
why.
gravel storage area.
We also have issues with the church,
Church,
gravel, parking.
there's. farm as well.
Okay, so that's not an issue we're addressing tonight.
Correct.
Okay. Drainage, I assume that's not something to,
It will be addressed with the development plan.
okay.
We'll require full engineer plans, stormwater calculation, potential water quality.
You have to see us plot.
So tonight, we are addressing the fencing issue, the type of fence,
And the use.
Well, the type of fence will be covered by the zoning.
well, we're-
Here, as long as it is the overlay. Here. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Material will be determined by.
Correct, that's why I'm saying, I'm not sure we need to call on.
I think it would be appropriate to determine it's a 100% opaque fence,
Okay, yeah, but the material, how they do that, it doesn't matter.
unless the board has a specific preference to a certain type of fence. If you want to require like a wooden fence, this would be the time to do so. The reason staff included these in the recommendation, these are a little bit above and beyond ordinance minimums. Special exception grants that kind of open door to determine, special exception by its nature is a bad thing. It may just need a little extra review, a little extra items that are above and beyond ordinance, this board has power. Sure.
Tell me what you mean by access minimum, including front.
How are we going to address that dam? And how is it going to perpetuate?
Oh, Virginia Lane did it.
Correct. They have a full access cut on 135.
Yeah.
That's going to be acceptable access to the business. We'll want to explore that, how that frontage road gets perpetuated as we move forward.
The frontage road is a private road, is that correct?
Our comp plan and our development code puts some pretty heavy emphasis on access management and control of all 135. And we want to be sure that we address that properly as we move forward in the development plan, if that's the case.
You said 10 feet is the max fence height. We want this more than 6, we want to. If your goal ultimately is to. I don't say what can be seen in an apartment complex, you assume it's 2 stories, not gonna matter. If you're in the second story apartment, you're gonna be able to see it in theory.
there's not a property.
But there's not there, right? Right, but I'd say if you're looking down the
It's
future.
a property owner that has a concern, and that's what we're dealing with right now.
Do we care if it's 8 feet or 10 feet, I guess?
Personal control of the
That's where I would lean, but
The other thing, I think we need to think about is that we define that it is just recreational vehicles. And that,
Those have been overstepping. I believe the petitioner stated that it was RVs, boats, campers only. Letting within the forest power to exclude semi-trailers, construction, parking, and daily access.
yeah, we don't include that, just in case you sell business in 10 years, then somebody else can't come
Well,
in.
and the other thing is it needs to run with the current owner and not.
Correct.
This special exceptions.
Yeah.
I also think it would be appropriate to include the preservation of the north and south tree lines to the extent possible.
Say that again.
The preservation of the existing tree lines on the north and south property
sure they're on their
To the extent that the property owner has that control. Obviously, we can't regulate if it's not on their property.
We call for a survey, it would be spring.
So we have one in August.
You want a job?
Any other questions anyone has?
Yeah, I guess the question for the petitioner is there anything we're talking about that we brought up that?
I would like to say something, in addition to, because of the mounding, it sounds like that's something that would be permissible or doable. I think Matt would appreciate if there was more substantial screening, maybe some evergreens mixed in with those trees. We don't know how long those are going to live. Something that would provide long-term, more screening. Just like to make that as possible.
I mean, with it being so shaded, I mean, we can put them out. How many times do you put them out after they die because they're not getting sunlight? I mean, that's a massive fence with,
But you don't know what that property owner, or maybe they're on his property. And he
Could
kept
very well
all
be.
day and just say, we're gonna take them all out and, as long as they're.
I agree that we need to, because it, when you see these storage places, they are kind of an eyesore. I get it. So, I get, their concern, and I'll work with them any way I can to keep the property hidden. But everything comes at a cost. And, we don't have a problem with putting out some trees, and additional trees. But, if you write it up, then if the trees die, do I keep replacing them or because they can't get sunlight, or do we address it by working on the tree line?
Just for the board's information, probably to the north is zone C3 commercial, which does not permit multifamily development. That would require rezoning or does it back to this board. And you-
Which means that he ultimately might take all the streets out.
Could you have a condition that if the tree line, the existing landscaping tree line were to be removed, that because maybe it's not in their control, or reason why third party that they would agree to future plantings?
For staff's sake, I'll say please don't
Yeah.
do that because they'd have to monitor it and who knows when it might happen. So I would say if you really want to do it, you've got to put a time limit on it. But I wouldn't.
That's the petitioner's concern of putting up trees that.
I don't think they're gonna die, so we can't. Can't make a decision based on.
I feel overkill, but I think I might.
Okay.
If you're ready to go, you can
Okay, we
take
have a
several.
motion by John.
With regards to use or variance 387-2022, I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance request with the following conditions. One, that the use is restricted to RVs, campers, and boats only. that there is a 10-foot height, 100% opaque fence. That they're, to the best of their ability, that is under their control, they preserve the tree line on the north and south. And that the variance runs with the owner, not the property.
Should we possibly?
Yeah, there were a few other staff, if you want to include those. The access management plan and a landscape plan, and then the shade trees and shrubs.
I did not have it.
What happens when the trees die? Will they be replaced?
What's that?
What happens when the trees die? Will they be replaced?
Well, let me finish here. And the landscape plan is submitted with the site development plan. Actually, all three. Do I need to spell out all three of those?
You don't have to, just,
The three staff recommendations.
yeah, but obviously that it's 10 instead of 6.
Right.
But you already covered that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
With
fine.
the 10-foot, 100% opaque fence presence. Well, he's gonna go, this calls for one shade tree per 35 linear feet of shared border. I think so. And as far as I'm concerned, I've not seen where requires they replace dead trees. If they die, some natural causes or whatever. So that's all that's going on.
So we have a motion by John.
I think legal's good with what we
I'm good. Are you good with that? Or did you get it? Oh, you. Did you get it? Yeah.
Oh,
For the minutes? Okay.
We have a second by Eric. All those in favor verbally,
John Vandenbach, aye.
Luana Marner, aye.
Eric, aye.
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda is docket BAR 388 Wood Lot 2 architectural variance. The petitioner is requesting a development standards variance to deviate from the residential architectural standards on a single-family dwelling. Subject property is located at 4494 South Morgantown Road. Property is zoned R1. Petitioner is JR Custom Homes. The owners are Brian and Tamara Augustine. This is for a proposed single-family dwelling within the Wood subdivision. So 3-lot subdivision. It was platted between 2016 and 2017. When it was rezoned, it had some commitments with that, which were included in your packets for your reference. Specifically, that these are custom built, no prefabricated wall sections, and that have a minimum of 2,000 square feet, excluding garages. Didn't have any architectural commitments with it, so per state statute, whenever this was platted, it is vested into those architectural requirements. So that's why you see the 2015 standards being applied to this one. And for R1, that 2015 architectural standard is 100% masonry on all first-story elevations. Staff received a building permit application and issued it with that compliant elevation back in April. And then the petitioner has since submitted for this variance request. The elevations are in your packet and on your screen. So staff issued, this building permit, with 100%, masonry on that first, for all first-story elevations, as per the, ordinance. What they're proposing is the, 100% fiber cement siding, instead.
This is the same plat we've had repeated.
It's not. This is within Wood subdivision, but it was platted under those same standards. So same architectural standards, different subdivision.
So is this house already,
It's under construction, but there is no siding or anything like that. It's still under construction. I don't even believe we've done a rough in on it. So it's still a ways from that.
But what was the requirements that we have addressed for that are within the same plat on other homes?
So
there's another home there?
yeah,
But it's within the same plat.
There's 3 lots, but there's only 1 home.
correct.
At
Yeah.
this point that's being built.
Yeah.
This is part of the same plat as across the street, right?
No,
Yeah.
this is across from Hickory.
Yeah. So if you see,
It's on Morgantown Road.
yeah. So if you see like on the, yeah,
Yeah.
it's north of Whiteland Road. Yeah.
The original thought part of Aberdeen.
Yeah. So this is different.
Same ordinance though, right?
Same ordinance,
Yeah.
correct? Yes.
That's what.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the same. Yeah. Same ordinance requirements, just different plat.
So you're asking what percentages of masonry did we kind of grant? I know we granted some exceptions in other cases, but it hasn't been 100%.
No, that's
Decision criteria are in your screen, or on the screen and in your packets for your reference. Staff is recommending that the board deny the development standards variance as decision criterion 3 has not been satisfied in staff's opinion. Petitioner is here tonight to give a presentation and answer any questions. This is a public hearing.
okay. Petitioner would like to step up to the microphone.
Hello, I'm Tom Vanderlick, Aaron, practicing law here in Johnson County for 23 years, 25 total. And I've been a law firm since 1999. Our address is 225 South Emerson, Suite 181, Greenwood, Indiana, and I'm a resident of Bargersville. Happy to be here in my hometown. I represent JR Custom Homes. Jason Ray is back here in the second to last row because he doesn't like to sit in the front row at church. He has a custom home building contract with Ryan and Tamara Augustine, who are sitting right up here. As staff has noted, the house is under construction. The reason we're here is because they want a modern farmhouse. It's going to be 2 levels on a crawl, and it's located at 4494 South Morgantown Road. And it's, as indicated, it is right across the street from the Hickory Stick Golf Course, which I'm happy to say I was involved in the original development of that golf course and the platting of many of those phases that are inside the residential subdivision. Little bit of a close-up. So this is approximately 11 acres, estate lots. The one in the back is a little more than 5 acres. The one that is on the north side there, fronting Morgantown, is lot 2. That's the Augustine's lot there. Their house will be the first one in this 3 estate subdivision. Their lot is about 2.3 acres, and the one to the south of them is about 2.3 acres, and the one in the back is a little more than 5. So here are the construction plans that were submitted for the actual subdivision. For the prior owners, that's where the name comes from, is Wood. So it's been through a few different owners now. Now it's owned by Double Eagle Development. So they put together what you're seeing here now. And as staff noted, the subdivision rezoning from agricultural to R1 occurred in 2016, and that's when the zoning commitments came up, which is what we're looking at now. So some of those zoning commitments are 2,000 square foot minimum. must be built by a custom home builder. So we've got some responsible growth already going on in the Wood subdivision. And then when Double Eagle took over, they created some easements for the subdivision for drainage, utilities, and of course access, which is what you saw a little earlier, and when you could see Lot 2 a little closer up. So there's a street, it's got to have common area maintenance for everybody, but we've got restrictions on the use. Residential, building inside, buildings are inside, the lot lines, can't further subdivide the lots. There's no accessory or temporary buildings unless approved by a majority of the lot owners or permitted by local ordinance. Restrictions against motor vehicle repair, restrictions against, no offense, vehicle storage, things that might help your business. Noxious activities, garbage, got to be in a receptacle, some more responsible growth that's going on. In 2020, these restrictions, this is from Article 3 of the easements and the restrictions, were recorded in 2020. There's the plot plan that shows the Augustine's custom-built house that will meet these zoning commitments and the use restrictions that we've already shown. What don't we meet? Well, we've got a 100% masonry or stone requirement under our 2015 ordinance. So that's why we're here today, so that they can build this custom farmhouse as a look that they want, and they want to use the John Hardy Plank product, Hardy Plank siding, that's been in use since the 1980s. So we're talking about a dimensional variance, not a use variance. Use variance has 5 statutory criteria. It's pretty onerous. Try to get through that. Dimensional variance has 3 statutory criteria under state law, a little less onerous, okay? The first one, I skipped the elevations, the staff showed them, there's all 4 elevations. We start getting into our criteria, which includes our local, on our application. The first question is what specific sections of the ordinance the staff has covered that. Okay, it's the stone and masonry requirement in R1 zoning. Number 2, well, now we're getting into the meats and potatoes, where the rubber hits the road. Where does zoning authority come from? Well, the legislative authority. You can regulate property for public health, safety, morals, and the general welfare of the community. Allowing hardy plank siding in this circumstance will not injure the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, because we're talking about safety, morals, and general welfare. You've got a product that's been around since the 80s. It's got a 30-year warranty. The building community that uses it now says if you use it and maintain it properly, it can last for more than 50 years. There's some estimates that it'll last for 100. You can look at many different builders' websites when they talk about it: Woodbridge Home Solutions, State Line Exteriors, National Association of Home Builders. It's also fire, insect, and storm resistant. I think that's important to point out for the product that you might allow on a particular residence in a 3-lot estate subdivision. Morals, what are we talking about? Well, that's kind of beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Vinyl siding is probably the most popular building product in the United States, but it doesn't hold up to the weather very well. So many communities have required, as we did, 100% stone or brick on the first floor elevations. Okay? Our response to that is you won't be, it's going to be 350 feet from Morgantown Road. It's going to be difficult to see. It won't be invisible, but it'll be pretty difficult to see. And it's in a small 3-lot subdivision, not Saddle Club or some other subdivisions we have here in Bargersville where you have a few hundred homes. The staff, as I understand it, doesn't see a problem with number 2. Number 3, the use and value of the area adjacent will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner up and down Morgantown Road, in that immediate vicinity of that subject property, we have Hickory Stick across the street. And to the north and south, we have properties that have been built and have been there, including some of them that are nearest to the subject property that have, I can't tell what they are without going onto the property and looking at it, but it's not brick, it's not masonry. So it will be consistent with what is around it. It will not have a substantial adverse impact on those properties. Again, I understand the staff doesn't see a problem with that criteria. The next one is the practical difficulties in the use of the property. So this is the one the staff sees a problem with, as I understand it. The property is subject to responsible growth. It is a unique piece of property in our mind, but it has already been subject to responsible growth. We got the 2016 commitments, and we got the 2020 use restrictions. And in my concentration in real estate, from one end of the state to the other, I have yet to see a zoning ordinance that can pinpoint the use of particular property. It's a general guideline. Can't possibly cover it all, and this is no exception. There's nothing in our ordinance that I could find that shows it intended to cover the development and construction of estate lots. You have 2.38 acres is our roughly. You got another one that's 2.38 acres. You got another one that's over 5. These houses aren't going to be right on top of each other. The house that we're building is going to be 350 feet from Morgantown Road. You really can't see it unless you're going to come to a stop on a pretty busy road, one of only a few roads that travel through Johnson County all the way to Indianapolis, along with State Road 135 and 31. Built by a custom builder with 2,000 square feet minimum on the first floor, excluding the garage. Again, it's already been subject to responsible growth and development. The estate subdivision concept is unique. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, would I build my home next to a farmhouse with hardy plank siding that is on an estate lot in excess of 2,000 square feet? If we're really concerned about property values, then the answer is yes. Because it's not on a 125 by 75 lot where the houses are close together and you have a few hundred of them. That's the end of my presentation. Of course, we are available for questions, and the Augustines would probably be open also to answering any questions on other options that you may have. Thank you for your attention tonight.
Do you have any questions? Anyone have questions? Okay, okay, we're gonna open the public hearing. Anyone that would like to speak to this, please step up to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening, my name is Tamara Michelle Augustine. My home is being built at 4494 South Morgantown Road. As it was just presented, we are looking for more of the modern farmhouse look, if you will. Directly next to our lot, the current home is the standard white farmhouse. There is a horse barn there. Unfortunately, I don't know how long it's been there. It's been there for some time now. Jason Ray, who is our builder, spent many evenings at our home. We looked at probably four plans whenever we were first looking at the lot and what we wanted on the lot. We were very adamant about not having a home that stood out from its surroundings. We wanted to make sure that we were respectful of the owners that were next to us. So that's how we actually landed on this particular plan. So the other plans were a little bit more modern, and we did kind of stray away from that. As far as the brick and the stone goes, currently there is very little stone up there. I mean, what there is, but we did use the stone more for that character look of what might have been there in the past had the home been built, say, 50 years ago. The chimneys on the top have stone. There is a little bit of stone around the front porch area. Again, that main picture there at the top is actually what you would see from Morgantown itself. And then the end window there actually looks directly into the horse barn. So, just, I guess, as a homeowner, we did want to make sure that we were very respectful of the individuals who were already there, our neighbors. But we also wanted to make sure that we were adding value to our surroundings and to our land. So, that's kind of where we ended up on this plan. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there, take that into consideration. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on that? We'll close the public hearing. The petitioner, would you don't need to address that. Do we have questions? Do you have a, I have a question. Apparently when you were getting with the builder to design this home, you must have had this thought in mind before the home started being built. Yes, yes.
So this particular house was not the first choice. Whenever you say modern farmhouse anymore, that seems to be very modern, and it just, they paint it white. So that makes the modern farmhouse. I grew up in Tennessee, my neighbors raised horses. So when we did find this land, it was kind of full circle for me, that the neighbors, had horses and that kind of thing. And so we just, when we came up with this plan, looked on the internet, I found a few, Jason Ray had a few that he had built in various places as well. And then we kind of took this footprint and just kind of made it our own, if you will. And so that's how we ended up with that large front porch farmhouse look, if you will. Again, wanted to, if you want to call it that old modern farmhouse, we added the stone, like I said, to try to make it look in the sense that it has been there for a while. We did add some of the metal roofing and things like that as far as the modern elements go. We just wanted to look at a home that, if we're going to retire there, stay in the same spot, for the next 40 years, 50 years, we wanted to make sure that it was a home with the materials that it would hold up over time. We wanted to age gracefully, obviously, but we didn't want it to be a maintenance issue. And that's why we chose the Hardy Lake siding, just based on what research we could do on that. And so we, like I said, we went to 10, and obviously the shingles there, that approved, and the shingles. And so we just wanted, again, to have a home that would age with us, that would be a low maintenance home, and would still, look good 50 years from now.
I'm gonna rephrase your question, because I think what you're trying to ask was, and correct me if I'm wrong, the building permit originally, maybe is the better person to ask this, but it was submitted originally as in compliant with 100% stone and masonry. And then now after the fact, construction has begun.
I think
And now we're seeing the variance
Correct.
where I think our thinking is maybe that should have been requested in April, when the original building permits were filed.
Was it a different house?
Was it no?
Different.
There were some things that came up.
Jason Ray here. Yes, I did submit that house as is shown. And that's when we came back with the denial. We were going to go ahead, knowing that I was going for the variance, they said probably the best thing to do is go ahead and change the plans to the brick and then move forward with the variance process so we can get this one started. So that's what we essentially did. We got the house framed, it's up, we don't have the siding, we got it up in there above the first level where we would not have brick, church stone or anything, so we stopped at that level and then down here, now here we are.
Yeah. So I was thinking, that question is playing around. So phrase it, get it out there, so.
No, I just, in thinking about it, reviewing the other instances where this ordinance has presented itself. Over half of 50%
been pretty consistent with allowing a variance from 100%. But I don't know that we've ever approved a variance of, in essence, 0%. Yeah, you make the argument it's a couple percent, but I don't know that we've ever done 0.
Or just in the ones that I don't, they, the last one was 80% on the front, 70, 40.
It added up
Before, now it's 60%. I think there's been 4 or 5 that I've been part of, that they all had some.
Some. I think I don't know, speaking myself, I don't know what to say. I understand the look they're going for. I want to be respectful of that, but
I think one of the differences is that is if I understand it correctly, those instances have been, I think, all now, every large subdivision
Joe,
versus.
lengthy.
Just a little clarification, this is a little bit of a unique one. We talk about vesting, this was vested through that 2015. Our current
I
ordinance-
grandfather, that you,
Correct.
I make sure I'm.
What grandfather did.
Yeah, so, Indiana Springs ordinance determined that the ordinance in place at the time of subdivision is the ordinance that governs that subdivision, particularly with these interpretation variances. Our current Unified Development Code that passed April, it seems like years ago already, has some unique things as far as architectural variety, but it does not specify materials other than the restriction on fire. So if this was not in a subdivision that was not vested without same colors and patterns, this would be something that would comply with the current.
And I just want to say I completely understand and respect your desire for consistency. But if you believe that this application meets all of the criteria, it doesn't matter what your decisions have been in the past or what they are in the future.
So if I understand what you're saying is if this was under the current standards, this wouldn't even be here.
Correct.
On a side note, completely unrelated to the exact topic at hand, but the larger topic. Is there a way to take the current, to avoid issues like this?
No.
See where it's going. And I just think that's why we're here. I was trying to make it easier. on
Right.
people here. Yeah. Oh, that's why we changed the back lots, that's right. But if we deny this, CUP,
So this is R1 that it would be permitted in, correct?
I'm sorry?
R1 it would be permitted in.
Right.
Yeah.
so if we deny it, they have to go to 100%
Not necessarily.
They could come back.
with with a substantially different proposal and
Exactly.
somewhere.
That would be another variance request.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
they'd
they
have
bring forward
they'd have
their
to start
plans
over
at
with their
30%,
application and see.
I think where my thoughts are is that it's not a large subdivision.
That's one thing, it's a second burden over it. And one word in town, a lot of those.
I like the larger subdivision. There's not one.
Correct, that's it, here, and
Yeah, all of the others.
some a little more boisterous than others, but yeah.
Well, I think Rangers said it's developed now, it
Correct, yeah, the current ordinance focuses more on actual architectural features, colors, patterns, projections, roof lines, rather than simply materials.
I've never been one. Material though. With regards to variance request 388-2022, the wood lot 2 architectural variance, I will make a motion to approve the request.
We have a motion by Eric.
I'll say.
Second by John, all those in favor of approval?
John Vanderlock, aye.
Romana Barker, aye.
Eric Arnold, aye.
Thank you for your kind attention, and I appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is docket VAR 390 Beaman accessory dwelling unit variances. The petitioner is requesting development standards variances to permit additional space for an accessory dwelling unit. The subject property is located at 4011 North 450 West. Property is zoned ag. The petitioner is Robert Beaman. So the request tonight is, we've got 2 development standards variance requests for an accessory dwelling unit. So there is an existing home on the property. The petitioner earlier this year came in with a building permit to remodel an existing pole barn on the property, and then has since come in and requested a building permit to construct an addition that would connect these two. And by that has created an accessory dwelling unit based on what the floor plan is, which are on your screen and in your packets for your reference. There would be some garage space, a bedroom, 2 bathrooms. There's also a kitchen area, and other living area. So the accessory dwelling unit is not, that is a permitted use under the Unified Development Code. So we are specifically focusing on the variances for the spatial parts. Specifically, the request to permit more than 1 bathroom. The ordinance limits to only 1 bathroom in the accessory dwelling unit. Additionally, it is limited in its living area to a maximum of 25% of the living area of the principal dwelling, or 400 square feet, since this one being is a small farmhouse that's on there. That 25% of that living area is less than the 400 square feet, so that's what would apply here. The petitioner is proposing over 4,000 square feet total whenever everything is shown would be constructed.
Is it 4,000 new square feet or the combined total of everything is 4,000? Oh, the 2 existing.
What is shown on your screen, so what is in that pole barn and then in this addition.
Okay.
And I'll let the petitioner further elaborate on that. So, and those are the variances that are being considered tonight. Again, not the accessory dwelling unit itself, but these 2 variances.
I just want to make sure I understand. So all of this is what's proposed?
Correct. Yeah. So to the left on your screen is
Garage,
where
a
the
garage shop, and then a bedroom, and a closet, bath, and then this living area.
yes. Yeah, to the left is the existing principal structure.
That we don't see.
Correct.
Okay, that was, I thought
Yeah.
that was,
No, that's all.
Yeah, correct. Yep. the statutory decision criteria are on your screen and in your packets for your reference. Staff is recommending that the board approve the development standards variances to permit 2 bathrooms and to permit a living area of 4,259 square feet, with the condition that commitments are prepared, approved, and recorded in accordance with Unified Development Code Sections 3-1I within 60 days of BZA approval. And that code section discusses a deed restriction about rental and things like that. So that code section is specifically in your staff report. Petitioners here tonight to answer any questions. This is a public hearing.
Hi, I'm Bob Beeman. Address is 4011 North 450 West, which is where the subject property is. We are proposing to connect a small farmhouse with an existing barn, which is the construction to the right there that's existing, in the middle of being remodeled now. And what we're building is consistent with residential, agricultural, garages and a garage and shop. So the construction itself is not what is at issue. What's at issue is we would like to put a living unit in that, which is where we would live. The farmhouse that's there now, we really don't want to tear it down. It's the principal structure, which means it controls everything that you can do to develop. And because of that, the fact that it's very small, you can't add anything to that. And so we don't want to tear the farmhouse down in order to then create a new principal structure. We want to end up using that farmhouse probably as a home office, but then our actual 1-bedroom living area would be in part of the new construction. And again, the wanting to use it as a living unit is what's at issue. The second bath, but it's basically wanting to use that as a living area, not to do a variance to build it. So, questions?
How large is the home, the farmhouse?
What's
How
that?
large? How many square feet is the farmhouse?
Somewhere it's about 1,000 square foot. It depends on what you count. There's a pantry that's really a big space, but it's built as if it was on a deck. It's been around a long time, but I'm not sure if that really constitutes as, about 1,000 square foot.
So you're currently living in the farmhouse?
Yeah.
And then once you do this, you would move into this part?
Yes, and then we'll use the other, probably, I plan on using it as a home office, something like that. So I just don't want to tear it down.
And then the rental issue is controlled by section 3-1.1, correct? Okay, is there anyone?
And that would travel with the property, correct?
Yes, that would be tied to the deed, yes.
Yes.
Unless we don't want it, in this case, we want to tie the property so that it moves forward for any future.
Right, we're not trying to make a
Yeah.
double out of it or something like that.
The document would reference the instrument number for the existing deed, so any future deed searches would turn that document up.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone in the audience? Well, that's open the public hearing. Anyone here in the audience that would like to speak to this? We'll close the public hearing. Any questions?
I'll make a motion.
Sorry.
Make a motion that we approve variance 390-2022. With the staff recommendations to permit 2 bathrooms, permit a living area of 4,259 square feet, with the condition that commitments are prepared, approved, and recorded in accordance with UDC section 3.1 within 60 days of BZA approval.
Okay, we have a motion by John.
I have one clarifying comment to that. only because my OCD kicks in, and 4259 is a very exact square footage measurement. By being that exact, are we potentially sugaring ourselves if all of a sudden it comes out that it's 4305? I just want to make sure we're covered, that we're not all of a sudden setting themselves up for a violation if that get, might make
Are you
sense.
gonna go out and measure it?
I'm not, no, but I want to make sure nobody else, this reading here isn't going to get screwed over in 6 months.
I think maybe, as presented would be appropriate.
Okay, I second.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Motion by John,
Just
a second
picture
by-
Eric,
by
someone
Eric.
charged.
I know.
It will not be me measuring it, I just want to make sure that if someone
Okay,
does,
we
we're
have a
not.
motion and a second. All those in favor verbally, to my right first.
John Vandermark, aye.
Rowan Umlander, aye.
Never wrong, I
Motion passes.
told you my OCD kicked in, it's all that was.
Very.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Last item of new business is docket VAR -391 2022 Aberdeen Lot 46 driveway. Petitioner is requesting a development standards variance to permit a second driveway entrance on a residential parcel. The subject property is located at 4141 Chapel Hill Court. The property is zoned PUD within Aberdeen Section 3. Specifically, this is the proposed site plan for this single-family residential within the Aberdeen neighborhood, proposing to construct a circle drive, so 2 drive cuts on this. It's not a corner lot within the neighborhood. This is just on a curve on the property, as you can see there. The street curves to the north there. Staff issued a building permit for this principal structure with the single drive cut back in July. No construction activity has happened on the property yet. They're now pursuing this additional drive cut variance. Decision criteria are on your screen and in your packets for your reference. Staff is recommending that the board deny the development standards variance to permit a second driveway entrance as decision criterion 3 has not been met. Petitioner is here tonight to give a presentation and answer any questions. This is a public hearing.
Thank you. My name is Andrew Barkosi with Barkosi Surveying, doing business as Mauer Surveying. We're located at 4800 West Smith Valley Road, Suite O, Greenwood, Indiana, 46142. I'm here representing the builder, Mike Duke, and the owners. And we're really here just to ask for a two-cut driveway. It is normally the ordinance that we cannot have 2 cuts for one property. This lot has about 170 feet of road frontage, so it's a very wide lot. The driveways that we're proposing are about 85, 90 feet apart. They're not too close. It is on a curve, so backing out of a curve area, sometimes you can't see quite up the road as well. So a dual driveway like this would allow you to back out your drive and then pull out forwards, giving you more safer interaction with the roads coming on. These roads are also all private, so there's really not as much flow as you typically have in a subdivision. The lots are larger, and so lower density and such. Even in an R1, you could easily have 2 driveways. R2, you could easily have 2 driveways for 2 different residents in the same width of road frontage here. This is a rendering that was completed. As you can see here, these double driveways are also really common in more extravagant homes, which is kind of what the look they're going for here, as you can see in this rendering. This is an existing residence that's located in Persimmon Woods, kind of a similar look of what they're going for. Again, this is also on a private drive, kind of similar concept here. This is an existing one. It was a corner lot, but it was an Aberdeen when it was approved earlier this year. This is an overview of Persimmon Woods. It's kind of hard to see, but there are multiple driveways that are dual, again, on a private drive, giving that kind of arched U look. This is another one in Claiborne. This is called Kinder Run. It's another larger lot subdivision, just off of Morgantown Road, just north of Aberdeen. This is Whitetail Woods, another private drive, same kind of concept. And this is Serenity Woods, again, private drive. Same kind of concept here. This is Hickory Estates, private drive again. And then these are a couple in Carrington proper that have had some double driveways that are put into. So as stated, we're really just kind of going for the unique look for this driveway. I actually think having more access cuts for a lot this big and these kind of driveways actually makes it safer rather than hindering. Usually they limit the amount of driveway cuts for a parcel because they don't want so many interaction points with the road. But with the curvature of this road and everything like that, this is giving more access for front loading drives, accessing going forward. And then also, if they do have people over, it gets people off the road, so there's not so many parked cars in a curve road as well. Really, I think helps the area. It increases the value of the nice grand look of these driveways. Any questions?
I know you show us all of these other driveways.
Sure.
The majority of those probably have not come before for a variance.
Correct. They most of them were in Johnson County, just kind of shows, it just shows, it just
I know
after
it
the
shows, but
annexation.
it's not
I agree.
something that's come.
Sure.
I wish you wouldn't show us those.
Joe, noting of Barnersville driveways to go check off, but I'm sure that was just.
BZA decisions are not precedent setting, so prior decisions should not enter into the.
I got a couple more.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mike Duke, 43 North 725 West Bargersville, the builder, developer of the neighborhood. This one of those things when we went back through with PV and this was an issue where I had that adjusted and see it probably will we amend it in the future. But a plan unit development, just the purposes for that is encourage innovation in land development in terms of variety, design, layout, types of structures, promote the efficient use of land, facilitate, building circulation systems and so on. And, again, recognizing benefits of one of the other notes is a high quality architectural design beyond minimums required in ordinances. So that's one of the things I know, one of my arguments on this is Aberdeen's private roads, as well as some of these other neighborhoods in the past. And we're not even we don't even get driveway permits for this. So it's one of those things that's not even monitored by a driveway permit. So I sort of question that on private drives. I know NDOT standards get mentioned a lot, which, I have copied out up here regarding driveways, which, the main things they're trying to regulate and maximize the number of driveways for frontage limits, the number of conflict areas and provide drivers turning, more turning time and distance to maneuvers. Again, this is a very minimally driven road. The curve, it is on a curve, but it's like a really spread out curve too. And then it also states that if more driveways are desired by the applicant, in the NDOT under section 8 says that if more driveways are desired by the applicant, they should demonstrate to NDOT, one of these main things was that additional driveways will not create safety or mobility issues on the state-owned route. And again, I'm saying this is a private road. It really helps with, the looks of the homes, the flow. And I also like them as a developer because we're getting less parking on the streets when people have, friends and stuff over. So it helps get people off the streets. I do feel like it is much safer versus backing out, to be able to back out and pull out. So that's, a couple of things that I had to add. So really appreciate your consideration.
Public hearings. Here, speak to this topic. Public hearing. Any questions? Any,
That's the only difference in this case, this isn't a corner lot, but larger lots, which would have to build yet.
We are just now getting.
Thank you for that.
Dealt with that one.
Had to get a chat there a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sorry. We had to get that done for a moment.
Is there anyone?
I'll make a motion regarding variance 391, 2022, the Aberdeen Lot 46 driveway, variance request. I'll make a motion to, approve that request.
Okay, we have a motion by Eric to approve. Second by John. All this, improved by Ray, Claude, please.
John and aye.
The one on Barker, aye.
Eric, aye.
So thank you very much.
Which one now is
Right, If you want to make that a precedent, make our lives a whole lot easier.
Or two.
Thank you all.
Aye.
There you go.
So are you interested in something?
Anything else?
He's gonna get stuff done. In a hurry.
Anything else?
Joe said he wanted to mention something.
Sure.
Sometimes.
We'll hold off on that.
Yes, but yes, there's no other business items, besides whatever Joe mentioned to address the board about.
Yours goes down the line.
Don't do, we're gonna adjourn the meeting.
And just waiting on you, don't know.
I was talking to them.
Oh,
I said, I'm not going up there.
So if there's nothing else,
I make a motion.
That's all, I just misunderstood.
we have a motion.
I wanted to speak with Mike, that's why I was getting up. a while. Nope, that's,